Welcome back to the Tobago Update Morning Show, and we have in studio with us Tutor Tobago Officer Mr. Bradon Roberts, and he's going to be speaking with us about some issues facing our primary schools in Tobago. But before we do that, we go to our photo of the day. Our photo of the day is coming up on the screen now. Yes, that's our photo of the day. If you know where this is, please send in your answers to our Facebook and YouTube lives. That is our photo of the day, sent in by Jad Davenport. Photo of the day sent in by Jad Davenport. Yes, so we are in with Mr. Bradon Roberts, the Tutor Tobago representative, and he's going to be talking to us about some issues facing our primary schools. We have been getting some disturbing reports about activities in our primary schools. Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates show, Mr. Roberts.
Good morning to the entire family of Tobago Updates and those who are viewing and listening.
So, Mr. Roberts, let's get right into it. What are some of these? We've seen some disruptions in our schools, particularly at Scarborough RC. I believe that was in March. And earlier this month, we saw some disruptions at the Moriah Government Primary Schools. I don't know if you could shed some light in terms of what actually occurred at those schools.
Well, to be honest, those schools are just examples of what exists in majority of our schools. We are getting reports that our primary school students are seeking to compete with those who are giving trouble at the secondary level. At primary level, you are talking about 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds and under. And the level of disrespect some of these students are showing. Now, those students who are not performing well in the academics are the ones who are giving trouble.
Right.
So the issue is on two fronts. We need to be able to cater to their educational needs, and we also need to cater to their behavioral conduct and conforming that to the needs of society. What is causing the great outcry and the frustration by teachers is a lack of support that we are getting from both parents and from the division in putting programs in place. We understand that the division may have limitations based on the national scope in terms of all these rights that we have for children and not for adults. So a child has a right to education. There are no programs for those who are not conforming and not performing well in our school system. So what happens, whether the child is behaving good or not, they go through the system.
Right.
And our young children understand that nothing much happens to them when they misbehave. We have the parents on that level where it's very disturbing that they're not even coming to the school to find out how they can assist. Once they hear anything involving their child, their golden child, they vent and they send these disturbing messages to the teachers and the principal and so on. Some of them on that level of threat. I saw that the officer was here earlier talking about threat and so on. And we're not getting the support even from the police officers. So teachers will go to the police station to report some of these things and they hesitate to even take the report. They are questioning if it's a threat or not. So we are seeking to demoralize our teachers and then on the other side hope that they will give their best to the same children that the parents are aggressive about.
So when you bring these issues up in terms of the misbehavior of these students with their parents, you said they respond aggressively towards the teachers and that kind of thing. What are some of the things in terms of specifics they say? Are they aggressive? Do they use obscenities? Do they come to the schools and cause a ruckus? And two, what is the response like from the division when these reports are made to them?
Right. So the unfortunate thing with the parents we are speaking about now would be some of the same children we complained about 10, 15 years ago are no parents. And the children who are behaving bad now would become parents. So sometimes when you send for a parent, it's not a parent of that good standing and good character, have discipline among themselves to even help discipline the child. So I would say with some of the messages that I have heard and seen, after hearing it as the one with Moriah, I had to take a thought, I had to take some time to catch my bearing. Because the language is filled with obscenities, because of course when persons are upset, they tend to raise their voice, their tone is different, they say things that they should not be saying. Those teachers who would want to give the extra, so they're staying back on evenings late, sometimes they're planning 6 o'clock in the evening, They don't want to do that at the school anymore when you have this threatening language. They talk about, do not my child, and leave my child alone, and so on. I'm trying to be as clean as possible in my submission.
Yes.
Now, when we report this into the division, because I would always advise the school, once you have these circumstances, liaise with the supervision at the division, and they will give you that guidance. When that guidance is not coming as it needs to come, and the support is not coming, then I would intervene. I would have reached out to supervision. I know there is the intent to work on. So it's always a postponement of action. So by next week, we will visit the school or sometime down the road. But teachers are living this on a daily basis. So we have asked for two things. We need to cater to the needs of those children who are not doing well. I've heard the secretary talk about the Tobago-centric thing. The way in which the curriculum is structured to be delivered, it would not cater for those children who are not inclined to that form of sitting down, all comfortable and learning. We need to make some changes. And we are hearing about this plan that's never coming. Besides that, we need to have some structure, because in secondary level, we have the suspension program, which that all needs to be reformed, because it's seen as a vacation time for those children at the secondary level who are suspended. They go there, they spend a week, 2 weeks, and they come back. I don't see that there's any reform taking place. So at the primary level, there needs to be some program that caters to those children who definitely they just can't read.
And what would those programs look like? What would a curriculum or structure for those children that are struggling in the current system, what would it look like?
So I'm very grateful for that question. It's a very good question. We have teachers who would have recently retired. In the past, we brought them back to do remedial teaching. So those children who weren't doing well, they will come to the school, they will pull them out for particular sessions of the day to strengthen their reading and so on. They can bring back, they have options, they can bring back such a program, or we could have centers. Now, everything I'm speaking about here will be an additional cost. And it would be a cost whether you fix it or you don't fix it. So you would maybe pay for the crime afterwards, or you pay upfront to fix the issue. So I think that is the hesitancy in the division and the ministry, because they should not have the same issue in addressing this in such a manner. So we need to have those children correct whatever challenges they have with their reading, because a child that cannot read would struggle in all the other areas of education, the way in which we teach.
Right.
So we need to have that reading program either at the school level or at particular centers. I know there's the adult literacy, but as mentioned, is adult literacy program. That is for those persons who have left the school. So we need to cater for those things at the primary level and the secondary level as well, because many students who go through the system at primary, entering secondary school, cannot read. They tend to give trouble at the school.
So, Mr. Roberts, as you mentioned that they're just going through the system, do you think it could be of benefit in the absence of a new curriculum being created for those who are struggling? Do you think it could be of benefit for us to sort of perhaps revert to the old system where children are struggling and we keep them back until they have gotten to a certain level to advance? Right.
So the system then needed to be enhanced, because just keeping back a child doesn't mean that the program is going to shift.
Right.
Because there are children who are coming up to meet that child. So if there is this program of work that you are planning, where we are teaching content and not teaching children, you're just having the child go through the same thing that they weren't catching before. So we need to ensure that the program that we are giving to our students are tailored to students and not just for persons to get marks. And I would have heard the new minister speaking about the continuous assessment curriculum, where you will give children a chance to earn marks before they reach to the SCA level. Now that to me is a wrong footing, because we're talking about persons getting marks and we're not talking about development. So I could do a test for my children to get all A's and they not be sound in education. So we since then spend too much time in having children get marks, and we're not speaking to their development. And how SCA is now as a high stakes exam, much of the teaching is curtailed to ensure that children are exam ready. But in terms of the development for secondary school to excel and so on, that's why we will see persons getting top grades at the primary level and don't do well at secondary, because they were drilled to an exam. So we have supervisors, curriculum officers, all need to play a collaborative role in enhancing what we have. But it's disjointed. So supervision does their job, curriculum does their job, principal, everybody do their own job in their own corner. I'm not seeing a program that brings everything together where we are all on the same page, where parents understand where they fit in, because some of the programs at home that needs to be built would support the school, but parents would not just know where they fit in if we don't create such a program.
And you think that that sort of synergy that you're talking about, do you think that there's a financial prohibition to that?
Yes, there will be financial implications. Nothing is free. Even if the government offers something free to the public, the government would have their cost at some point in time. If you're going to bring personnel, I'm not certain that Tobago is in a space where persons will just willingly give up their service without being compensated. I'm talking about those who are retired and so on, they will just come back out and not be compensated. The advertising of whatever programs would have a particular cost as well. You will need experts to come and give feedback, to do an analysis, because it's not just to do something for doing it. You will need to analyze the efficiencies if we need to improve. So there's a lot of work in what we are discussing. But as I said, there's a bigger cost in not addressing it.
So, Mr. Roberts, I want to shift into a different angle, a different aspect of this problem. We're talking about these disruptive children. I know that there's supposed to be some social workers within the Division of Education. So there has to be some sort of social aspect to this thing. I just wanted to look into that. What from the feedback, the teachers, because the teachers are in the heart of the problem, what is the issues, the social issues that the teachers have been able to identify, and even in having conversations with the social workers that they've been able to identify as the cause or the root of the problem?
Right, so we're talking finances here again, eh? Because teachers have been referring these particular matters to our social workers, the guidance officers, and student support. However, these persons are significantly under-resourced. So when you also have social workers, guidance officers who are attached to schools, and you may have about 10 or so children in one school who needs attention, how much attention they really getting? Because a social worker or a guidance officer may come to a school once a week. They may have either a 15-minute session with each child that they may need to see. How much influence is that when these children going back into the same space that they will be spending majority of their time, that I'm talking about the home, where they are not conforming to the standards that we would want them to conform? Social workers, to me, with the community police and so on, should be able to pick up on those children who are not doing well behaviorally. And we visit the homes, you give the guidance and so on. I'm not certain what resources put towards that, what connection at the division and the TTPS level is put towards that. But this is not new ideas, we have spoken about this for a very long time. The Commissioner of Police, then Earl Christopher, would have come to Tobago. We had a meeting at one of those office buildings in Scarborough here, where they discussed, they know the schools where the challenges are. They know the amount of gangs that we have in our schools and the collaborative effort towards addressing it. But that was just talk. We did not see any actions after that. We're hearing about police patrols, but it's not just a patrol. We need to have that link with the community. We need to understand the community that these children are growing up in, how we can assist the parents, because as I said before, if those parents who don't have any discipline in the years gone by are no parents, you can't just openly ask for them to do better. We need to guide them along that path. So it's not just the lack of communication with teachers and guidance officers and social workers. It's the resources that these units would need to really make an impact.
And as you spoke about the gangs, it's really surprising to hear that our children so young are becoming involved in these gangs. It seems as though for us in Tobago, this was a distant problem that only existed in Trinidad. And while teachers may have been seeing the problem for over 10, 15 years, the general public probably now starting to actually experience it themselves as of last year, when we had the increase in murders and the increase in gang activity in Tobago. And it continues into this year, even though it's a bit abated, but the school problem is now something new that the public sort of come into a realization of. In your experience and in the teacher's experience, is it that these children that are in gangs belong to families that are also affiliated with those gangs?
Well, the possibility of that is very high. And remember, we are in a society that goes with the trend. So whatever is trending out there, they want to be a part of it. So even some of those children who may not even really be in gangs, and that's like how the 6 and 7 slang is. So they will associate a 6 and associate a 7. But there are those who I do believe are a part of that grouping in a serious way.
Right.
So if we do not address the narrative, and just to quickly mention the government's take on even with the Vibes Cartel thing, we need to know who are influencing our children. So it's not just about the Vibes Cartel. There are many other persons who are negatively influencing our children. I'm not saying Vibes Cartel is, but we need to assess, what we are leaving our children exposed to. And if we do not address the gang culture, yes, the primary school, those primary school persons are part of it. It's already cemented in our secondary school, where there are some schools where there are numerous fights with the 6 and 7 thing. So yes, we need to address those things. We cannot just hope that things will just work itself out. There are significant inroads these gangs are making in our school system.
All right, Mr. Roberts, I wish we could have a longer conversation because we have so much to talk about concerning this issue, but we have to bring the discussion to an end here for now. Hopefully you could come back on at some other time and we could continue this conversation. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, so that is it for interview, and that's it for us for today at the Tobago Updates Morning Show. But before we go back to our photo of the day. Our photo of the day, it's coming up now. Yes, this photo was sent in by Mr. Davenport, and it's a photo of Argyle Waterfall. The photo sent in by Mr. Judd Davenport, and it's a photograph of the Argyle Waterfall, or photo of the day. And like I said, that is the end of our programming here at Tobago Updates, but our conversations continue with GMT. So stay with us, do us a favor, share the live, share the live, share the live. See you tomorrow.